that were kind of connected to me, and totally the same story. I had three partners that I was working with,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of it, we were trying to break up the responsibility because everything, somebody needs to do integrator stuff. So I was doing integrator stuff. And
Yeah.
then they were supposed to be calling, and super great folks. I loved working with them and learned some great lessons about making sure that you're working with people who know what they're getting into and
Yeah.
that you know what you're getting into and
Correct.
everybody agrees on it. And
Yeah.
once you have that agreement, then you're able to enforce that agreement. So
Yep.
at the
Yep.
end of 4 months, we closed it all down.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody kind of shook hands and said, that was awesome. Learned some great lessons, but it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm here because I was super thankful for you guys putting on the integrator
Mm-hmm.
events, and I'm definitely looking to learn more about how to find a partner that I
Okay.
can really go
Cool.
all in with. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Hopefully we can help you. Oh, there you go. So Michael D. Giovanni is in. Kevin Smith's in. Um, the Podfather. Wow. What's going on, Pod? Good to see you here.
Yeah, what's up, Oscar? How you doing?
Good. Long time no talk, huh?
I know, man. It's been a minute. Just been
Yeah.
busy.
Well, you've been busy too. Congratulations on your CRM launch.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to talking to you, man. Just getting catch up to speed and whatnot. So cool.
Yeah,
More real estate connector, capital raiser, wholesale acquisitions, buyer, MTR, STR, communal housing, via single and multifamily. Okay, you do a lot of stuff, Sonia. Do you have a big team or is it pretty much you? Sorry, Pot. We're just kind of introducing ourselves, where we're from and what we do. And I think I just introduced yourself. So, but if you wanna, because you're so famous, so so
cool.
if you wanna introduce yourself too on the chat, kind of like where you're from and what you do and all those stuff, So
Yeah, absolutely. I'll drop that in right now.
yep, yep. I know John. John is from Chicago. I know he does. He's a investor. He does flips too. I think John, you do you still have a W-2 job or not? Okay. All right, cool. But yeah, I think we can probably get started and see if people join in. I think this is a good group. I like smaller group, that way we have more interactive. And guys, um, you know, feel free to put something in the chat. This meant to be very interactive. But we are going to start. We are going to talk about my journey with Tim. What aspect that we're working on, what is the business framework that we use, all those fun stuff, all the nerdy stuff about business. Okay, this is about business building. This is about finding the right partner, finding the right people in the right seat, accountability chart, process chart. All the stuff that we don't see being talked a lot in a lot of the groups, because we're not going to be talking about how to do cold calls. We're not going to be talking about how to do, just how to close deals, right? Those are all parts of process. Those are part of finding the right people, or team members. But we're talking about, hey, how do we, like, when you start a business, do you even have the right process? Do you even have the right systems to start with, and how do you grow that? What do you do when you want to get your first hire? I mean, what do you even do before you even get the first hire, right? When I was talking with Tim, also, by the way, so me and Tim, we started working together about 7 months ago. It is through Sharper Process that I got connected with Tim. And the business that I'm building with Tim and Sharper Process is my KPI Books, which is my fractional CFO, bookkeeping, and advisory firm. So when the company actually started in the late of 2021, and it was just kind of like a side business for me, because like I said, I'm a full-time real estate investor. I do flips. In 2022 and 2023, each year we brought about 2.5 to 3 million revenue in the flipping business. So I'm actually good with the side income or with the main income. The bookkeeping and fractional CFO is more of like accidental business that got created during COVID and going on. So, and then I see the value of it, and that's why when I created the business, I know I'm not going to be a solopreneur. I know this business cannot survive if I'm just being a solopreneur. So I start thinking about this business as a business, as like, what do I need? What business framework do I need to grow this business organically, and hiring the right people, hiring the right team members, so that, at the end of the day, I'm not stuck and I can scale, right? So that's how I met Tim. And, I want to just kind of talk about our journey, right? How do we start, and where we are right now, right? So again, I just want to kind of prelude that, like, where was I when I met Tim, right? And I think in the beginning, when I met Tim, we only have two people in my team, and the two people, meaning one is full-time and one is part-time. The full-time is my senior bookkeeper. His name is Joel, and we've been working together, just the two of us. And I had part-time that kind of helped me with the admin stuff and all the following and everything. And when we were doing that, we had no system, we have no SOPs. Some of you know what SOPs are, is standard operating procedures, right? We had none of that. We don't have any accountability charts or whatnot. So when I went with Tim, I remember those are the first thing that we kind of went through, right, Tim?
Yeah, Oscar, what we really tried to start with is identifying where, what the business, what you wanted it to be, and really trying to do the work to get that foundation there, which, I have to say, congratulations again. It's been amazing to see the journey that KPI Advisors has been on the past 6 months, with, the growth in clients, the growth in team, the growth in efficiency. It's just been a great thing to be a small part of. So congratulations to you on that.
Yeah. And then we just spent about 4 hours today doing the first part of our quarterly meeting, right? So tell us a little bit about what is a quarterly meeting. I know we're kind of jumping a little bit over there.
Yeah, so I mean, the big part of what I do is make sure that with all my clients that we implement a business operating system or framework. And what it provides is a way for the entrepreneur to take control of their business and create efficiencies, so they're not having to do everything, be everything, make every decision. If you're ever going to grow, you have to grow beyond your own capacity, and you don't want to be the bottleneck in your business. And so what we really look to do is set the foundation of what our company is all about. And we work that through the RISE system, which is resources, which is time, people, and money. Then we look at inspiration, which is really who we want to be, what are our values, what are our beliefs, where do we want to go. Then we really look at systems and creating systems and processes and procedures that allow the company to operate without the CEO, founder, et cetera, doing everything. And then we move to engagement, which is really engaging internally, externally, and really putting that team together that can make that impact to increase the sales, to make sure the marketing's on point, et cetera. And that's been our journey for the last 6 months, and the results have been amazing. And I'm really excited to see where you're going to go in the next 6 months.
Yeah, no, we're excited too. So I think we forgot to something. I want to can you tell me, like, who is Tim? I think we just kind of skip that. Like, I want to, just take 5 minutes to, like, what did you do when you were like 8 years old?
So yeah, it's kind of a story I kind of can't outlive. So when I was a kid, my parents owned car dealerships. And as a child of a car dealer, and especially multiple car dealers, you spend a lot of time in car dealerships. And my personality is not one to sit around, so I, would help out here or there and that type of thing. And I got really good at washing cars, and kind of the whole thing about being a lot boy was in my wheelhouse. And I soon found myself training all the new hires for the lot boys. And I was told, by one of them, like, oh, I'm so excited for this job. I'm making $3.35 an hour. And I kind of, again, I'm old, so it set me back a little bit. And I was, well, if my mom's paying this guy $3.35 an hour, she can at least pay me that. And I went to my mom and I said, hey, I need to get paid for all the work I'm doing. as you can imagine, the reaction was, I pay for everything you do, so I'm not paying you. And my reaction was, fine, I'm not going to work for you anymore. And I went home and I went to my great grandma and I said, you know, Grandma, I'm not working for Mom anymore, so I think we need to start a business. And we started a business selling my great grandma, who is the best cook on the planet, God rest her soul, homemade hand pies and fresh squeezed lemonade. And we sold them in the one car dealership to start. The amazing part is in a couple of weeks, we had such high demand, I had to hire my babysitter to work for me, and we hired her grandma. And over about 2 months, we had grown to a team of 8 people to keep up with demand, and we expanded to multiple car dealerships. And we started with just my parents, and then other car dealerships were coming to us and saying, will you set up in our place because people are telling us how great your food is. And then crazy enough, by the time I was 17, we had morphed into a catering company, and we owned our own commercial kitchen. We owned an event venue, and I was able to sell that company for a little over $1.6 million. And from that first success, I basically have just continued to work as an entrepreneur. A lot of you guys in the real estate sector are in the fix and flip, and I have to admit, I look to fix and flip businesses. I really enjoy looking at undervalued assets, coming in and putting in systems and processes and procedures and getting the company to be running like a well-oiled machine and turning around and selling it. I'm kind of agnostic when it comes to sector. I look for businesses that I enjoy. So I've owned restaurants, I've owned hotels, I've owned manufacturing companies. I've been hired to come in and work to really change a variety of different businesses, sometimes on a fractional basis as well. But what I really found when at the start of 2020, I was able to finish a transaction for a rather large business, and we got to close before the world changed and everyone went into lockdown. And so I had some free time. And I realized that I had paid a lot of people to do what I'm doing now, and I thought I would be better at it than they were. And that's when I really found my calling in working with business owners, founders, and teams, because it's really, I think, where I make the biggest difference when we're working with the leadership team to really make sure the operation is on point and working for everyone, and that we're continuing to grow. The one thing we started talking about the quarterly, we really, in a business operating system, we moved to working in a 90-day world where we basically look at, in these next 90 days, we're going to accomplish X, Y, Z. And then at the end of that quarter, we'll get together and we'll see where we were, where we did well, where we fell short, and we'll make goals for the next 90 days. Then we also put in place where we annually meet for 2 days, where we really look at our annual plan for the next year and also our longer range plans to make sure they all align together. So, and I did see the note here from Tech. I'm definitely an Oregon Duck. I planned my entire life around college football. So if you ever want to meet up with me, just go to an Oregon Duck game and I would be happy to tailgate with you. And we can talk business if you want, or we can talk college football, which I'd love to do all day.
Yeah, he's being serious when he follows Oregon Dog everywhere. He lives does revolves around that. So, all right. So I think you missed an important number. How old were you when you sold your business, your first business?
I was 17. It was just about, I graduated from high school at 17 and I sold right about that same time.
Okay, so you were 17 years old and you actually sold your business and the assets for a little bit over 1.6.
Correct.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. And so your latest kind of not acquisition, but your latest you sold the business, right? You sold a door manufacturer business that was in 2020.
Yeah, that's correct. So I remember at the beginning of my story, I said I'd never worked for my mother, and in 20 in like late 2009, I got a call from my mom, and by that point I was kind of in my play mode. I was doing a lot of travel. I had spent that summer teaching water skiing in upstate New York because I wanted to, but I got a call saying, hey, I need your help. And I came back and went to work for my mom. her business at that point was struggling quite a bit. It honestly took me 10 years to do that flip, so that we ended up selling in 2020.
Okay.
So
And then
it
that's
was a
that's
pretty
when
big transaction.
yeah, and you sold it right before the world shut down.
Yeah, we closed everything in January of 2020, which I just thank God, because I don't even want to imagine what the complications could have been as we were trying to close with all of that. Even though building product manufacturing was pretty much considered an essential business, but I was really happy just to have some free time to contemplate what that was going. And I live now and then in the greater Vegas area. So I had time that I could go and drive my car down the strip with no other cars and just check it out and see something that I probably will never see again, type thing. Hopefully I never see that again, because that was a bizarre time.
Yeah. So let's start from the beginning of our relationship, because the reason that I sign up for the coaching is not because I have a growing business yet. I know the business is going to grow, but I actually I'm very, very, kind of like because people were very surprised, especially Gary and the team, because they know me as a real estate investor, right? And they thought that I was going to come in to grow my flip business, but then I told them I'm growing this company, and that time we only actually made about probably like $5,000 a month, to be honest. And then the last quarter, I remember when we start working, we actually increased that goal, the revenue goal, to be $15,000 a month, and we met it. Right. And that was like that last quarter of 2023, where we say, okay, this is going to be working. You know what I mean? Because before that, I was basically, it's really just my side job. Right. Like I said, we brought in about 2.5 million in revenue from the flip company. Right. And so, but I really believe in this business. Right. And really just my long-term goal for the KPI advisor is to reduce the amount of flips that I will do eventually, still investing in real estate, and grow this KPI advisor business to be a business that can grow and scale, and me being an owner and the face of the company that we talked about, and install the right people in the right seat. And that's where the journey started. Right. So
yeah, definitely. And I think if we look at your key purpose indicator, is one thing that I know I was real impressed with, and I forget the exact wording, but it's to create how many millionaires that
I think the 3-year goal for 2026 is 100 millionaire with like a net worth of 1 million. Right. That's our clients, especially, right? 1 million net worth individuals. Right. And the key is to also use their net worth and their influence for the goodness of the world, right? To better the world. Right. So, and that's let's go down into key purpose indicator, because that's one of the first things that we worked on.
Yeah.
Right. It's really, I mean, it took us what, like 3 months to work on that, literally.
Well, again, it took us so long because we were just meeting for 1 hour a week,
Yeah.
So it's like if we say 3 months, we're really talking, 8 hours type thing. So
Sure.
it's not it doesn't usually take that long. But when we didn't only look at your key purpose indicator, we really looked at what was the purpose of the business and what were the core values of the business, and what type of structure we need to put in place to be efficient. And again, what the other part that was a big part of the purpose of your business too is to give good jobs to people. And that was also really cool to be part of that mission behind of all businesses are there to make money, and none of us can do anything if we're not making a profit. But having that higher purpose in the business is something, and it's so awesome to see your team that's developed over that time really behind that and pushing that. And not only for the employees, but also for all your clients. You know, that's the other thing, the peace of mind you're bringing to your clients that are in that real estate space that, you know, haven't known what their P&L was for years and hadn't been on top of their accounting. And you take that stress away, and you know, so much of your business is cleaning up other people's books so they actually know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's been, like I said, just a real exciting journey with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So why we always start with the business framework, with the RISE business framework. We always start with purpose, right? Core values, purpose. We talked about that first. Now I know, you know, if we say like, why is that important? Of course that's important, but like, what is really the underlying why we start with purpose first?
I think one of the biggest reasons we have that purpose there is because when you're bringing your team together, you want people that are aligned with that purpose and that vision. That's part of being the right person for your company, is that they're all aligned on the vision of that business and can commit to that wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And so there's oftentimes that we can have the right people in our business and then they could be in the wrong seat. So we can have great people in the business that are, you know, behind our culture, behind everything. But if we put an introvert that is very low driving in a sales role, they're almost guaranteed to fail because it doesn't align with their natural behaviors and skills.
Yeah.
And that's why we need to be sure that we're getting the most out of the talent. We call that talent optimization. And that's really, you know, the part that I know we're going to spend some time talking today is the predictive index and that type of behavioral assessment, which gives us insight to our team members, to potential team members, to be sure that we're putting them into a role where they're really going to just succeed.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's get into that a little bit, because I think, I don't know, I don't know who filled out the predictive index test. So can you just put in a chat, you know, I did or I did not? Okay, Michael did. Okay, so a lot of people did. Aaron did. Who else did? I know George did. So how important is this, Tim? Like, for example, there's a lot of different tests, right? I think the free test that that we usually take, you know, that is widely advertised, is the visionary integrator test, right? The rocket fuel test, right?
Okay.
That's free. Like, everyone usually takes that first, and now everyone's like, oh, I'm a visionary, oh, I'm integrator, let's partner up together, and like, hopefully it works, right? And then they also take the DISC test, right? Which is a lot of times it's the free Tony Robbins DISC test, DISC. So you know it's your dominant and everything like that. So why do we use predictive index?
You know, I'm one that's never going to focus on a negative of a different one. The reason that predictive index has worked for me, my clients, and also Sharper and their clients is honestly just the quality of the results.
Okay.
Almost everyone I meet with that takes the PI assessment and you look at it, you know, the reaction isn't, oh, that's not me. The reaction is, oh my gosh, how could someone know that about me from that simple little thing I did? And the other part that really plays in there is it's designed to really show how you can best manage, lead these individuals to be successful. And the extent of the insight we find to be really valuable. In the old days, we all did the Myers-Briggs was the, you know, the assessment we took. And I remember always knowing I'm ENTJ, and that's who I was. But, you know, it kind of told me a little bit, but I never had that reaction of, you know, holy crap, how could it know this much about me? And that's where that accuracy, and no assessment's going to be 100% accurate, but it can get, you know, the big picture is almost always shared through the PI assessment.
Okay. So I want to go through a couple of different examples, if you don't mind. For example, like I know I did a PI test. I took my PI test like back in September, right? And George my partner here also took the PI test, but we've been partners for like 3 years, right? So thankfully, we're kind of like, we know each other, and we know we're in the right, the right person in the right seats, because George is pretty much my COO and my CTO, like the technology officer and my COO, right? But interestingly, and I'm going to share this screen, and maybe you can help us kind of understand this, because like obviously we've been partners before we knew about PI tests. We took the PI test, and now we know our avatar, right? Which is what the PI test will give us. Now the interesting part is we're both the same avatar.
Huh?
Right, we're both venturer, which is we can look at now. So tell me a little bit about that. Like, so for someone who's been a partner in partnership but know their roles, right? For example, me as quote unquote CEO of the company, and George kind of like the operation, and kind of like translate my dream and vision into reality, right? See, a lot of people just call him integrator, but I think it's much more than that, because as a when I see his predictive index, I can see he can also dream and vision and create businesses of its own, right? So how does that come into play, I guess?
So, okay, it's we call them reference profiles.
Yeah.
And there's basically 17 of them. And from those, Adventurer is an analytical profile. It's really strong on dominance. Maybe I should back up a little bit. So a PI, it measures 4 factors. Dominance, which is the drive to exert one's influence on people or events. Extroversion is the other thing that it measures. It also, so that's where the A is the dominance.
Yeah, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, so this is my profile right here.
So you're extremely independent, off the, way to the right there. Then your extroversion is right there in the middle, which is the drive for social interaction with other people, which is the second thing that is measured.
Yeah.
Patience is the drive for consistency and stability, which is your opposite, is not your area. And then formality, or the drive to conform to rules and structure, is the final thing that's measured. And then in this, what you're looking at being the self concept, and the synthesis is self is who you are. Self concept is who you think you should be. And then the synthesis is kind of the combination of the two.
Okay.
You're pretty consistent, from your top profile to your middle profile. So your synthesis stays very much intact. Sometimes you'll see with an individual that their self and their self-concept are in opposition to each other. And that can be through a variety of factors. But oftentimes, like an introvert that's always been told, oh, you need to be more outgoing, you need to do, you need to be with people or something, you'll see where their B score will be much lower in their self, and then much higher in their self-concept type thing. So
okay,
that's what we're seeing there.
Okay. George, you mind if I show you yours?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So let's see. Sorry, I was admitting more people in there. Okay, so this is George. So this is a less, I guess it was a trial version that we had, so it has the last information, but it still gives you similar data, right?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you're going to see about George, just looking at this right off the bat, though, is he's not as extreme as you are, Oscar. It's much closer to the center line. And so even though he does have that independent streak is not as off the chart as yours is, as well as his other items are not, like his patience is a lot more than yours is as well, we're seeing here.
Okay. And we all know that, right, George?
The one thing in looking at your team at KPI Advisors is, most of these people are accounting individuals. Almost all of their D score is very much to the precise. When we look at your KPI advisors team, you are the least precise person on that team by far.
Yeah.
And some of them are so far off the charts in being conform to rules and structure that's that insight that it shows us.
Yeah, and I want to see if I can show one of my team members. Well, maybe not here. So let's see. Oh, JV. Let's look at JV, right? Because JV is one of like, look at this. Right? Sorry, here's our latest hire. He's our latest bookkeeper. He just joined basically like 2 months ago, right? So what does this tell you? Like this is like, so this we're going into a different avatar, right? Specialist. So what's a specialist? A specialist is a highly precise worker who remains skeptical while respecting authority. So would this be a good team member, like for any, I think like accountant, bookkeeper?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be accurate. You will also see a little bit there of what I was talking about, where the self and the self concept are in opposition.
Right.
If you see where his B score is in his self versus his self concept, you know, I know right from just looking at this, and I just met JV earlier today.
Yeah.
He is an introvert at heart, but he's trying really hard to be an extrovert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So JV was one of the first hire that we had that took the test first before we even talked to him. I remember that, right? But like, because Joel and Fanny and David O'Toole, we actually got through a sharper connection, and he already did the test. So he kind of like qualified David, right? And say, this guy is also good for one of your operation, right? But after that is basically JV is the first one that we kind of follow our hiring process, right? To take the test, predictive index before we even like go deep into his resume and kind of talk to him or interview him, right? So, yep. All right. So now in terms of partnership, right? So we always talk about, you know, when we started, I think we talked about a lot of different partnerships that didn't go through and end up being like, okay, well, you know, let's try to do this for 4 months and it doesn't work. And, you know, now we kind of, people chalk it up to like, hey, let's just date, and it's like a fail forward thing. But a lot of times, you know, we could save all this fail forward by, like, say, for example, following a certain partnership or hiring process or interview. Would you say so, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to go into any type of partnership with your eyes wide open.
Yeah.
So from that end, I'm not one that's going to say that a partnership of people that are of the same behavioral pattern won't work, or those that opposites always attract. But I think it's really important as you go into that partnership to identify the strengths and weaknesses of each party. And when I understand that, as an example, if I was to work with you, Oscar, I know that you're not one that has a huge drive to conform to rules and structure. I also know that you have a drive to exert your dominance. You know, I'm a little bit different in that respect. I'm what's called an altruist. So from my end, I don't have a huge dominant streak. I like to win, and I'm very competitive, but not to the extent of usual when people think of that end. So I know going into this that our partnership is going to be, it's going to be important that I stand up to you and I push you and I bring facts to that conversation. You know, I think sometimes when we just look at the reference profile, so we're only looking at page 1 of your profile, that's a real simplistic look at it. When we go to the next page, it's going to get a lot deeper and give us a lot more things to know. And so from that end, it gives you a management strategy. And as your partner, in a way, I'm going to have to work to manage you, as you will me, type thing, but it helps to understand really the motivation behind things that people do. What we're really measuring when we're doing these type of things is we're looking at the drives that are behind individuals, and that these have a tendency to stay consistent over time. And if we know what the drives are, then because drives create needs, and then needs, responses to needs are what those behaviors are. So if we know the drives, we can kind of predict what the behaviors are going to be. So often when we go in blind and looking at information, all we see is the behavior, but we're just guessing on why people are behaving the way that they are. And so what this gives us is a chance to really look at what are those drives, and then we'll know what those needs are so we can predict what the behaviors are going to be. So if I have an item to bring to you, if you're my partner, Oscar, I will know that you're going to respond more positively to data than you are going to be to feelings. And that becomes, real important for that conversation. That I can also, when I'm working with a larger team, I got to keep all of those points. I got to get data, and I got to get the emotions behind it, because I have a big audience to communicate with there. When I know, what your basic drives are, I can conform to that, and then that sets me up for better success as well.
Okay, cool. Now, I think you said you have a some sort of a slide deck to go to just go a little bit further on talent optimization.
Yeah, I do.
Right. So what I'm thinking is just probably if you want to go through your slide deck for about the next 10 minutes, and then after that maybe open up the floor, because I only slotted for an hour. You're welcome to stay more than an hour if you want. But then let's try to get your slide deck and just kind of have everyone learn more, and then after that kind of open it up for like Q&A if someone, and actually some people who filled it out, I don't know if you mind if we can open up their profile if they want to, and just kind of talk about that too, in terms of where they are in their business, kind of,
Sure.
and
I
where
just
they
need
go.
you to make it so I can share my screen.
Yep. So let's see here. Here you go. Oop. Actually, here, try that now, Tim.
All righty here. So I've talked about some of this stuff already. So basically what we're looking at is talent optimization is a strategic approach to align people strategy with business strategy, which again is getting down to what the simplistic way of saying is making sure we have the right people in our company and we put them in the right seats. We're looking to leverage team member strengths, skills, and motivations to get the most out of them in our business. It's been proven through multiple studies that 34% higher employee performance happens consistently for talent optimized companies. Let's see here. It's a little slow. Sorry. Okay. So basically, with a member of our team, they have their have tos. So those are the minimum job requirements that they have. And that's when they come to work, even if they're not aligned if they're in the wrong seat or whatever, they're going to be motivated and they're going to work to meet the minimum job requirements. What we find is when we put individuals in the correct job, that performance gap moves a whole bunch. And the number one thing that makes the difference is the job itself. Is the job in alignment with the individual's behavior profile? And when it does, the performance gap, is off the charts. The next most important thing is the manager. So who they report to, who they work with, and are they able to communicate? The third is the team, and the fourth is culture. So even though culture, and I preach it forever, is super important, but if I have a great culture and a great culture fit, it's only going to make a small improvement in that culture gap if I have someone in the wrong job with the wrong manager, within the wrong team. And that's why we work really hard with all of our client companies to be sure that we're getting the right person in the right seat. Now, the biggest challenge for almost any business is identifying the right talent, and then aligning that team with their strategy. And what we know about hiring strategy is everyone comes to a job with three core things: drive and cognitive, values and culture, knowledge, skills, and experience. Now, we can evaluate someone's knowledge, skills, and experience with a resume and interview. We can make sure that their values and culture is in alignment by making sure we have a vision and core values for our business. And then we also can use assessment tools like PI to know what their drive and cognitive skills are from at least a basic understanding. Because that whole person shows up at work, and that's what we're looking when hiring, and also when we're putting people into the right job. So from the behavior assessment like PI, we can use it, like I said, for candidate fit, for career pathing. When we're looking to grow some people in our company and where they're going to fit and where they're going to be in the future, this gives us great insight. It also is super important in relationships. When you end up with managers, supervisors that aren't in alignment with their team members, that doesn't mean it can't work. It just means we need to be sure that we manage that relationship and use the tools that we have, which I kind of talked to Oscar about. If we were to end up in a partnership, the things that I know about him allow me to communicate with him that's going to be on his level and his needs. And that's a big part of the PI assessment because it gives us that background information. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but people have drives that those drives create needs, and the response to those needs is the behaviors. So if we only see the behaviors, we're just guessing at what those drives and needs are. What PI and similar behavioral tools give us is if we measure this, we can predict what the needs and behaviors are. And those are the type of insights we look at. The four factors we talked about: dominance, extroversion, patience, and formality. These tell us a lot about the individual and how they respond to different drives. So how does all this work? This is one thing that I found really interesting. Is this some magical algorithm that goes in there? But when you take it, the assessment asks things about, oh, are you competitive? And like, yep, I'm competitive. And so that's a check mark in the dominance category. And then you look at calm, and that's not me, so he doesn't show up there. And the conventional, they think so they get it. So after you take this assessment, it then measures this, and it has years and years of study and background. And so that's how it comes in to create something that fits so much with you, because thousands and thousands of people have taken this assessment over years, and there's those data scientists that jump in there and they really dive into it. So that software from PI turns it into a chart that we looked at, and that's kind of where we're at. So where are you on this? Then that gives us insights to how you work. We talked about the self concept and the synthesis, how those can be different, but they're going to be somewhat, they're going to show up at some point, even when you're trying to fight it, type thing. And then we look at all of those, like Oscar meant he was a venturer. That's a shorthand way to talk about it. The person page gives us a little bit, like this is the 30,000 feet view, and this gives us the reference profile. And so these are the 17 reference profiles that exist. You can see me, I'm the altruist in the social profile, where I'm not very dominant, but I really need interaction. I also like to follow rules, but I also tend to be somewhat not calm type thing. Oscar's the venturous, but I work on his team. We're going to see a lot of guardians, craftsmen, scholars type thing. Anyone that's really strong on following rules, controllers, specialists, etc. And when you look at jobs, multiple profiles can fit a job, but there's also multiple profiles that don't fit jobs. And that kind of just gives us a background to make sure that we're set up for success in that way. So as a bottom line, remember PI and other behavioral assessments, they measure workplace behaviors so we can drive talent optimization. We get insight into individuals, their work styles, their motivation, communication preferences, and it enables the organization to make data-driven decisions in talent management. So it's kind of a game changer in that regard, to really understand the members of your team or prospective members of your team. And it's crucial for an organization to be succeed that they're getting the most out of their people. We have the right people in the right seats, that they're aligned with our business goals. And the PI and other things make sure that we can do that with the most effectiveness.
Very
So-
nice. Awesome. Oh, thank you. Well, that was a lot in 10 minutes.
And I'm sorry if I talked too fast, but I know we had talked about a lot of these things already, so I didn't want to spend too much time
So,
with it.
so I kind of want to open up the floor a little bit. I know like some people said they took the test. I'm wondering if anyone want to talk about their profile. I don't know, like maybe Michael or Sonia. So Michael, if you want to unmute, I don't know, can you unmute?
Yep.
Okay, there you go. So Michael, meet Tim. This is a great time for you. So right now your trade's kind of like you're a software engineer.
Yep.
Right? You're San Jose and you're delving into real estate and you said you're trying to wholesale.
Yep.
Okay. Let me see if I can see. Would you mind if I pull up your profile, Michael?
I would love that. Yeah.
Okay. And I think I saw it. Michael Mahoney, right?
That's it.
Okay, there you go. And let me share the screen.
This is always people's favorite part when we're working with profiles. So that's still you, Oscar.
Oh, no, sorry. Okay, here's Michael.
Okay.
Michael is an owl. Is that an owl?
So Michael's an individualist. So from that end, Michael is looking, he's going to be real strong on the dominant side. He's an introvert by nature. He also he can be pretty calm and patient. And then he though is not a rule follower by nature either. It's again the basic thing it's telling us. So he needs lots of opportunities to reflect, room for introspection, freedom from office politics. He likes stability. So that's what he's showing us here from this pattern. And it's gonna, as you're gonna go into more detail there. Have you had a chance to look at your profile, Michael?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
This is the first time, yeah.
This is
And
it,
and
yeah.
Michael, so anyone that filled out, I have your test results. Send me an email, oscar@kpibooks.com, and just say, your name, just put it on your subject, Michael Mahoney, and then /PI test result, and I'll send them to you. All right. And the reason, like literally, guys, the software costs $6,000 annual to purchase. So, when I said it was a limited time opportunity, it is limited time opportunity because, like, I mean, Michael, is it you or do you see yourself in this?
I'm genuinely surprised. Like Tim was saying that this was like it explained you so well. I mean, you just looking at it and talking about it, I was like, how in the world do you possibly know that? That's amazing.
Right. So, and the thing is, like, this data, you said, Tim, this data is compiled over like millions of data points already, right? At this point, right? They've been a company for like what, 50, 60 years already?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure about how long they've been around, but it's been quite a while.
Okay. So let's talk about a little bit about Michael. So Michael, you said you're trying to go into wholesaling, right, Michael?
That's right.
Okay. So which position are you in your wholesaling company?
Yeah, I became the integrator.
Okay.
Because of my software background.
Okay.
But at the same time, I was also I was doing the integrator side in order to set up some of the friends I was working with so that they could be doing sort of the sales side, calling folks. But I was always kind of above it all as an integrator. I was like kind of the integrator and the visionary for it. And I was just pulling in the sales help that I needed at the time.
Okay. So what do you think?
But that company's dead now. So now I'm like, I've got all these ideas of maybe I, as an integrator, because I'm a software developer, maybe I just go find a somebody who's a visionary and who's already doing, some number of deals per month, and I'll be their integrator. But then I don't know. I like the idea of creating the company and running the vision as well. So I've also had some ideas for creating software for wholesalers and then starting a company doing that. So that's kind of where I'm at now. It literally just like 2 weeks ago, we closed down the 4-month wholesaling run that we had. So
Okay. So Tim, if you were to just kind of give a quick input, if Michael was to start over, knowing his kind of behavior pattern, and also he wants to do some wholesaling. So do you want to continue kind of like you said you want to still try to pursue wholesaling in the real estate business? If
yeah, there's at least 50% of me that wants to keep doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, so to me, the most important conversation to have if I'm talking to anyone, if they want to be an entrepreneur, or if they want to work for someone, and that's a conversation that Michael and I would have. And that answer gave me like he's not sure yet. He kind of has some ideas, and he has some drive to be an entrepreneur, and his profile doesn't work against that. It just is going to be what that business looks like could be somewhat different than maybe wholesaling. As you mentioned, the love of software and developing that software, I can see just from your profile where that might be something that's really going to excite you. And that might be something we work on together in that sense, and putting up a plan to move forward with that. But as you also said, you like to get stuff done, and it looks like you're talented at making sure stuff gets done. So from that end, that could be a great fit to either work with a partner or to work for an established company to get some more experience, insight, to learn that way as well, and make sure that everything's running on an efficient level as well. So there's some options open there.
Yeah.
That's cool. See, I'm really into this now. Like 2 years ago, if I literally changed my Instagram from Oscar the Closer to Profit with Oscar. All right. So like a lot of people know that I used to be Oscar the Closer, and I'm really into closing. I'm like, I want to close deals. That's all I want to do. Right. And then as I start growing a company and I start struggling with, hey, I don't want to be in the business all the time. Right. I mean, like, I like making money, and I like, I feel like there's a purpose in this, but as I, grow into the company and everything, it's just become a churn, it's a grind, right? And then that's when I'm like, well, something has to change. And it's not about the money anymore. It's about how do you grow a business that can be stabilized and not only serve a purpose in your life, but then hire the right people to just support the business so that you're not really, like you can kind of like, I still want to be the face of the business, but I don't want people to be like waiting for me to do something, right? In order for the business to run, right? That's just kind of like my relationship right now. So it's cool. It's let's see here. I'm gonna stop sharing. So thank you, Michael. Is there any other questions that you have?
Well, yeah, if we're looking at possibly finding a partner, so would you recommend, of course, I'll take a look at this, but then like if I go and try to find somebody to partner with, should I say, I don't know, go take the
I would
predictive index
honestly,
test,
I would
or-
ask them to take the PI assessment.
Okay, perfect.
That's, and be willing to share yours as well and say, hey, take this, because it's going to provide us insight into each other and how we work together. And so it's a positive for both of you.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. And I think I like that idea, because that, it's almost like, before I knew about this, I would be like, hey, so this is literally what I did with George, right? George, take this test, which is the visionary integrator test, right? And take this test, and like, oh, great, George, you're an integrator. Let's go partner up together, right? It's just like, I think now we have more data points, and we have more, the behaviors kind of like, tell us more about how we can work better, together, right? With the partnership, and especially for your future partner, Michael, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's going to help. So So that's great questions. Anyone else wants to kind of go over their stuff? I know
Oscar, I'm going to
Aaron.
quickly add here too.
Yeah.
A lot of you may be familiar with Gary Harper, which I love. I am honored to work with him through his company Sharper as well.
Yeah.
But his son would always have his dates take the PI before he would date them.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's cool.
that was so he had insight to that I found very humorous, but also very insightful of his son to do
That's a
that.
great idea. My daughter's 16. I'm gonna start doing that. I'm gonna like, before you even like go out with someone, send him his I'll send him his test and questionnaire too. That's a great idea. I'm gonna do that. So that's cool. So yeah, but we got a couple other people that filled it out, I think.
We got a hand raised.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sonia. Okay. So yeah, let's talk about Sonia, you want to unmute?
Yeah, I would love to go over mine.
Okay, awesome. Let me see if I can pull it out. Tell us about yourself a little bit, Sonia. I think you said you do a lot of stuff there. So
I really don't like wholesaling. It's just a means to an end. And I love connecting, and I love the capital raising. I thought very interpersonal. I love talking to people, and the buyer, being a buyer is really what I want to be, because I like affecting other people in a positive way, and being a buyer is better. A wholesaler is not affecting anybody's life but themselves, in a sense. That's my opinion, and I want to help. I want to help as many people as I can in the world, and like I said, I just love helping. It brings me so much joy.
Sounds like that's part of their purpose right there already. So all right, so let me share the screen now. Okay, Sonia Moore, right? That's you?
Yeah, that's me.
All right. So Tim, she's a promoter, and that's the behavior pattern right there.
Really?
Yeah. As Sonia already said, she's a very social person. She has a drive to connect with people. She also likes flexibility. She likes to talk out things to get to solutions. She likes variety in her work. She's not one that wants to spend a lot of time with a whole bunch of details all the time. She wants to think bigger picture. Sonia, does that continue to sound like you?
Absolutely. Totally. If I have to do the same thing too long, I get bored and I lose interest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by far your highest your highest area is sociability, so extroversion. You're definitely an extrovert, and you really look for that, and you look for flexibility. Those are your two strongest areas.
Okay. So
so what would my partner match be?
Well, so you're definitely going to need a partner match that's going to be a detail-oriented person, at least somewhat, because if we have both of you varied in that super flexibility area, we're going to struggle somewhat. A lot of details are going to fall through the cracks. We're not going to, get those taken care of. And this, again, is over time, because you can do it for a short amount of time. You can follow the rules and make sure it works, but you can't do that on a long-term basis because it's just against your nature. So you're going to look for that. You could have someone that's equally sociable, but it wouldn't hurt to have someone a little bit more on the reserve side that's, kind of willing to step back and not be, really out there in that networking part. They could, cover up for you. Or if you have a huge network that you got to cover, you both can do it. So there's nothing wrong in that. And as I've said before, it doesn't really mean that you can't work with anyone. It's just really important that we know what our behaviors are so we can then respond to them. What's going to be more important is how you communicate. As someone that is pretty precise, I know that that's not your area and you want a lot of flexibility. So I wouldn't be on your back about, son, you do have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. I would try to outsmart you though, and make sure that we got those details collected from you so we can move forward. I had the chance earlier today to spend time with Oscar's team, And one of their biggest challenges is we need our clients to provide us the information. They want to do all the accounting and stuff, but they're trying to pull the information from the clients. And I can already guess that a lot of the clients they're trying to do that from are like you, Sonia, and their precision score is going to be much more to that flexible standpoint. So that's again where we just have to find a way to work those through.
Thank you.
So what are you focusing on this year, Sonia, in terms of business? What is your like main income right now?
Right now I really don't have a main income because I've been focusing on, since I joined Sub 2, on connecting.
Okay.
And so I'm getting ready to kind of add and I mean the wholesaling, I didn't want to do it. I started doing it last month. I said I just got to bite the bullet because I gotta have some income. And so, and I was connecting, and I actually was doing things. I was giving away. I was actually connecting with other wholesalers, and instead of me collecting a fee in the middle, I gave it away. And so I didn't earn any income, not because I couldn't, but I thought that if I got too deep in the wholesaling that I wouldn't be able to connect like I wanted to. And capital raising is just an extension of connecting, in my opinion.
Okay.
But I know that capital raising will facilitate me being a buyer.
Okay.
But my desire is to get rid of delegate as much as I can off my plate so I can focus mainly on the stuff that I love to do and have someone else. I want to build a team that so we can do it all. I don't want to do it all. I've done it all in the past. And I think if I had not done it all in the past, I may be a millionaire or billionaire. When you try to do it all, you end up broke.
Yeah.
Sonia, have you met Michael Mahoney?
No, I haven't.
We just looked at his profile earlier, and you mentioned, who would be a good match for you, and I'm like, you know what? As I'm sitting there listening to that, you guys might want to have a conversation.
Well, I'll look him up so we can connect.
So
You hear me, Michael?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay.
My number in the chat.
Okay.
that's Michael right there. That's his behavior pattern.
Okay.
And that is, let me see. Oh, I didn't open up yours. I'll open up yours again. So that's you. Oh, sorry. This is you right here. And this is Mike. Right. So you're very sociable. Michael is more reserved. You're very flexible. Michael's more in the middle, and he's more like in the middle of between precise and flexible. He's very steady. Where you reckon in the middle right there. So, and that's kind of
what? Here's the thing though, Oscar. I used to be that person. I changed over time. Back in my 20s, that's who I was.
What do you think about that, Tim? Like in terms of behavior pattern, how do you see, like, I guess, is it even worth it to take this test every year, every 2 years, every 3 years?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. The data shows that it doesn't really change.
Okay.
So Sonia's self-concept might have been different back there. And it could have happened, but usually from that end, like, Sonia, are you really saying that you used to be really shy and reserved?
I did.
Okay.
When I got into 6th grade, I met a cousin. She said that you're going to be miserable when you become an adult. We got to get you out of that. And so from being there with her a year before she went to high school, she really dedicated herself to pulling me out of being a introvert. And in the 7th grade, I was instead of being an introvert, by the 7th grade, I was an extrovert. Debbie really did it. So, but my first job, when I was still in high school, I did income tax. I did accounting after that, and then I was a programmer. But I didn't do any of that long. I only did each one of them for about a year. And then I became a network systems engineer, and I was all over the place, and I was designing things. I had to put out a bunch of computers. I could not stand to sit there and do what was it, 500 computers just one at a time. So I created a program, and I got those 500 computers done in 3 months and put them out in the field. And then I was bored. I didn't have anything else to do. So I did whatever I wanted to do every day, and I went out and actually associated with all of my coworkers at one point or another. So I was always out socializing, and I enjoyed it. And I had to socialize in order to go out and repair things, because I had to go out and talk to the people and see and kind of see what happened to why did this break. So I was still kind of an integrator, but I was always a visionary. At a young age, I was self-taught with drawing. I could just do it automatically. I didn't have any training, and when I close my eyes, I see pictures. It's just like I'm looking at some reel of pictures. That's weird. I never met anybody that said that have said that, but my mind is very creative, and I cannot stand repetitious stuff. So I changed over time, and maybe I really wasn't the introvert. Maybe I was that person because I had to be at that moment. And so, but maybe with meeting my cousin, she allowed my true self to come out.
I
So
would
I
think,
don't know how to explain it, but that's what it was.
All right. So I'm sorry, Tim, did you want to say something?
well, I was just going to say that, what the data shows is usually, our true self doesn't change in the sense of what our behavior profile is. And that doesn't mean it doesn't change around the edge, but it usually stays pretty consistent over time. But that doesn't mean situationally any of us can, make adjustments for periods of time. It just is, again, we're not really set up to take advantage of our true self skills, abilities, energies, etc. Like, I don't really like selling stuff for the most part, but I can sell stuff, type thing. Oscar the closer, I see that with your dominant drive over there. Mine's kind of the opposite. I'm very collaborative. I like to get the group to work together. I like to bring the team together. I would say that my superpower is building teams. And so I get that enjoyment from that collaboration, where I can, try to be really dominant, but that's not where I personally get fulfillment from.
Very good. So I know it's 8:15, Tim, but would you mind just doing one more person? Joe, he's a friend of mine in Chicago, and
yeah, definitely, no problem.
So, and we'll see after this. So, is it past your bedtime or is it not?
Well, I'm West Coast, so it's only 6:15 here.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right.
I got to go to dinner here in a little bit.
Oh, okay, there you go. Okay, so this is Joe. So Joe, do you want to unmute Joe?
Could you hear me now?
Yeah. So Joe, tell us about yourself a little bit.
Okay. I've been in the real estate arena since the 90s, pretty much every aspect of it. Right now, I manage several short-term rentals. I do a little bit of wholesaling. I'm a private money lender, and I'm working on a flip right now.
Okay.
Everything real estate.
All right, cool. And now, do you have in all of the different businesses, do you have partners, team members? Where are you right now in terms of like the seat in the company?
Pretty much, I have team. Let's see, trying to build up a team to approach delinquent taxes and properties that are going to foreclosure auctions. So I'm trying to build a team now. I have a team that I work with doing flips. That's about it, though. I'd like to build a team and grow a team and so forth. Okay. I've been pretty much doing stuff myself for a long time.
Okay, so your avatar is a captain here. There's a captain is a problem solver who likes change and innovation while controlling the big picture. So what do you think, Tim?
So yeah, as it talks here, the strengths is, he likes to lead and have an impact. He's sociable and people oriented. He's able to deal with time pressures and change. Now he also can be pretty authoritative and maybe brusque with people. He's gonna have a real high dominance, but he's also going to be real high on social, which is going to be really his difference from when we were looking at Oscar in the venturer profile. He also is going to be not super strong on following rules from a general. He doesn't like to be super precise. He can be. He also is going to lean more towards logic and facts, data over opinions.
All right. So does that sound like you, Joe?
Very accurate.
Yeah. So he actually almost looks like a venturer too, right, Tim?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest difference is where his B score, so his extroversion turns out. That's really the big difference between a venturer and a captain. A captain is much more sociable by nature than a venturer.
Okay, cool.
But as you can also see, his sociability score, yes, it's on the right side, but it's barely on the right side. His strong points are independence and driving. So he wants to get stuff done and he wants it done his way.
Well, that sounds like you, Joe.
It does. It does. But it's all, my way is all based on logic, reason, and facts and research, as opposed to opinions. That's my justification.
Yeah. So who do you?
That works for me, Joe. I'm on board with you there, my friend.
So you said you're building a team, right, Joe?
Yes.
Who is your next hire, like per se? It could be a virtual assistant. It could be an admin. Like who do you think you want to hire next as a part-time or full-time person in your team?
I would love to get a VA.
Okay.
But I need to figure out.
So what type of VA?
I have no idea. But
Okay.
someone who said administrative stuff and
okay,
maybe,
so what is the job description of the VA that you're looking for? I guess that's what my question is.
I guess that's what I need to set up, a job description and the
Okay.
task.
Okay.
That's why it's not concrete.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
But
Joe, if I was working with you on that, I'd start asking questions again of where, we'd start looking at where you're spending your time currently. And then we'd start looking at, okay, what are the things that we can take off your plate that are going to be the things you'd least like to do? So then we'd look for someone that can take those items off your plate on a consistent basis to free you up to do what you like to do the most.
Okay. That sounds good.
yeah. And if you need help with finding an administrative assistant or executive assistant, I can help you with that.
Great. Thank you.
I've gone through a few candidates, and again, this candidates passed through this the PI test also actually. This is I'm hiring her as my administrative assistant right now. So she's a strategist. I think we talked about her too, right, Tim? Yeah, and she would be like, she's more precise than me, obviously, right? She's on that that level, so she can help me with the detail-oriented one. She can also be driving, so she's more independent, right? Also, well, it's like she doesn't. How would you describe a driving in an administrative assistant, Tim?
The driving admin assistant is going to also be to make sure you get stuff done and that everything on your team is getting done. So that can be a really valuable skill, because they're not one that's going to be concerned of, we want to make sure that we only do, that we keep it steady and consistent. They just want it done. And so especially in the field where you are, where you have so many varied business interests and tasks and people that need your attention, she's going to be kind of your gatekeeper in that respect as well, and make sure that everyone gets what they need. And if you're not following up like you should, she's also going to be pushing you a little bit on there, which you can need, even though you're pretty good at getting everything done. Yeah,
but I get too much on my plate.
Yep.
Right. And that's probably you too, right, Joe? Kind of like you're a little bit overwhelmed. Like you can manage it on most days, but sometimes you will drop the ball, and you were hoping that someone can help you kind of juggle and manage those priorities, right? Yeah. So you're muted, but yeah, I see you head bobbing. So
I'm sorry. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So, you know, like I said, you know, this is an example of a good executive assistant or admin to hire, right? This behavior pattern. So now you know.
Very good. Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Now, if you're looking to hire a VA who does cold calls, it's probably different, right?
Correct.
You know, and also, you know, acquisition, lead manager, those are different types of. That's why we ask about the job responsibility first, because, you know, a VA just means a remote team member, right?
I would also need someone, yeah, who would do cold calling as well.
Right. Yeah. So, you know, as you start hiring this, come talk to me, because we're planning to purchase a license. So there's a couple of ways to you get it. You know, if you work with Sharper Process, you work with Tim, you have access to this too. But we're planning to buy actually an annual subscription to this, which is going to cost us that much. But we'll be able to get some of those credits for you, so we can help you with those getting the right person for you too.
Okay, great.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, you know, unfortunately, this is kind of like a more expensive investment, but in our purpose and goal and what I've said with Tim, we're planning to hire at least 6 to 10 more team members by the end of the year. So I need this, right? Because the cost of not having this is much more than the $6,000 that we'll pay every year.
Oh, the turnover rate, if you hire
Correct.
one person, train
Exactly.
them, then they quit after 6 months.
Exactly, right? So,
Very
so to
expensive.
me, now I can justify it in my business. Last year, 2 years ago, no. You know, I probably will be enough with like the DIS test, right? And just kind of wing it, you know, and go with it, right? But I mean, when we want to hire people who are precise, you know, like bookkeepers and talented bookkeepers and with the right behavior, we have to be this specific, right? In terms of our hiring process. Right. So, all right. So hopefully that helps you, Joe. And any last minute or any other questions that you want to ask Tim before we let him go?
What kind of who would be a best partner? Who would be, best partner or people to work with?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, Joe. I'd like to look at your PI profile in more detail, to really look at that and kind of talk about where the holes are in your business to make that recommendation with any type of clarity. But that what I'm going to say is, in looking at your captain profile, usually what you're looking for is someone to take care of your weaknesses, which is, you know, a persuader is going to be someone that you might be, or a collaborator, someone that's going to be more team oriented than my way, you know, that type of thing. That's going to help. An altruist would also be another person that would, you know, bring that different perspective of making sure we're taking advantage of the entire team instead of just our point of view. Which I don't say by any means you're closed-minded. I'm just saying that your behavior profile is telling me that you're pretty darn confident in your way. And you need someone to push back on that a little bit so that you guys can get to the best solution. And they'll be able to do that if they bring you facts, figures, and data. You're going to listen. But if they just do it on emotion and feeling, you're not going to listen to that at all. You're just going to say, "Get out of here." So
it's a sad man. It read me well.
Yeah. Well, cool. Tim, how do people get in contact with you?
You know, I did throw it in the chat here, but you can get all my contact information at timcox360.com.
Okay.
My phone, you can schedule appointments with me. You can look at my stupid social media, different things I talk about, whatever you want, it's all there. So,
Okay. And again, guys, if you,
or you can ask Oscar to get a hold of me. So,
yeah, so I'm the manager. No, just kidding. So George's gonna send the results, right? And here's the thing, right? We're not gonna just send random results to people. I know there's over 60 people that fill this out, but we're not just gonna send it to them randomly, because there's not gonna be such value unless they hear this Zoom, right? Because, you know, a data is just data. Like, you know, like Aaron, if you're not in the Zoom, like if I send you, I don't even know what your profile is right now, but if I send it to you, you'll be like, okay, well, you know, what is this? Right? But now it has a context, right? Now with this example that we went through, you can, oh, okay, well, I know, you know, where I am, and at least you have a base point, right? And this is where I really want, you know, to do this, because it's such a valuable tool. Like, I'm all about building businesses, guys. Like I'm not about closing, you know, like I changed so much from like 2-3 years ago that I'm like, man, you know, I wish I knew this 3 years ago, because I just gonna hire someone who can close for me and run a business instead of like closing and talk to people every single day. Not that there's nothing wrong with that, but you'll just be in the business all the time, and it shows that you get tired, you get burned out, you know. And I mean, I was closing deals with George, right? George knows we were closing 2-3 deals a month, but I'm like, this is too much, George. I can't do this. Like, it's not about the money anymore, right, George? It was like, at the end of the day, man, we got to stop, you know, because like, you know, we at that point we didn't have a business framework, right?
George, I want to know who your cuter partner is that was jumping into the screen.
We should have her take the test, George. Oh. How old's your daughter, George?
She's 5.
Okay.
Yeah. She's she's wanting for daddy to go play with her, but like, daddy's
Okay.
busy.
20 more minutes. So
No, you're good. We're good. We're good.
all right. So well, that's cool, guys. Any last minute questions? You know where to contact him. But I really appreciate your time, Tim. You know, I think this is great for everyone. I know I talk to you every single week. So, but every time you show me, you know, it's always something new whenever I talk to you. You know, it's always not just new knowledge, but new understanding to just kind of discover us as a, you know, to be better business people, right? So I really
Well,
appreciate
Oscar, thanks so much for the opportunity, and everyone, it was great to meet you. Yeah, if there's anything I can do for you, just hit me up. Would love to have a discussion. And thanks so much. I'm gonna get to dinner, so Whitney's not mad at me now. So
Okay.
have a great one, everyone.
All right. Talk to you next week, Tim.
Nice meeting you.
All right, guys. So we are going to kind of open this up. I think, George, if you want to continue with, you know, the rest of the agenda, I think we were also talking about, you know, we release such a great resources for all the integrators out there. You want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so as many of you know, we've had a really, really great turnout from our last integrator event. A lot of really, really great people showed up, a lot of really, really great knowledge that was shared, spanning from the whole spectrum of, you know, from what it really means to be a superhuman integrator, right? And even you know, touching on the visionary aspect of things, right? And so with all the wealth of knowledge that was shared in that 3-day event, there was a lot of resources that you know, that were compiled, and if you weren't able to make the event, or if you didn't even sign up, let me know. That way we can get you access to, I mean, we've got, oh my gosh, so many things. I mean, we have literally hundreds of SOPs, guides, things that Oscar and I have used in our very own business. And so a lot of this, like there's a whole bunch of different guides and a whole bunch of different like things that you can use for your team and whatnot. But like the power in the way that we've structured our SOPs and our procedures is we kind of built a little less rigor behind the way that we set up the workflows for our team. And really that the whole point of that was to allow for our team to be empowered, right? Because like if we're gonna sit here and dictate, you know, this is what you need to do, and this is how you need to do it, you know, especially from the things that we've talked about today, right? Like when we're looking at that graph, when we're looking at that visualization of where like all the different ways people can, you know, people and their personalities can land on the chart. Like when it comes to finding out the hard way, right? You have to like measure out like different cadences and different ways to talk and different team builders, and does that even work? How often do I need to speak to this person? How, you know what I mean? Like there's so many different dynamics when it comes to having a good team. So like I said, a lot of the stuff that we have are the things that are able to move the needle, right? And so when we're having conversations with our team, you know, we're able to have a very open-ended, conductive, very collaborative type of conversation to figure out, you know, how to massage growth, you know, within the team. And so that's what you'll find in these guides. And so, like I said, if you weren't able to attend the event, let me know. It's a lot of really, really great stuff, a lot of really great resources. But yeah, I mean, it all comes down to like really taking advantage of stuff like this, because to Oscar's point, like like whoever, if you didn't take the test, like just know it was like literally a 5-minute thing, right? And it's weird because like this 5-minute test at like basically asks like what's the name of your dog? Do you clean your room? Like, you know, just like weird random stuff like that. But like when you get the results, you're like, what the heck? Like how you know, it really gives you like a mirror, right? It's a direct reflection of how you operate, you know, personally, professionally. And so, you know, when Oscar and I first started out, there was a lot of that massaging. There was a lot of that just kind of trying to figure out like what works. And luckily for us, we were able to find a really great groove and find a way to make things work and for us to kind of build on momentum and really capitalize on that. But I mean, that's luck, right? Like you take any business, any partnership, you know, in sub 2 or not, like there are so many different collaborative efforts where, you know, things just kind of go sour, right? Things go south for whatever reason, right? But like if you have something like this predictive index test, like it's almost like a cheat sheet, right? Like it's almost like a secret, right? You don't have to like figure things out the hard way. Like you're able to leverage these kinds of things to figure out like, I have the answers. I know how to talk to this person. I know how often they want to talk. I know, you know, what type of you know, engagement that they need for support, for growth and whatnot. So yeah, really take advantage of this stuff. Really excited to see what we're gonna, you know, what we're gonna be building for you guys in the next coming months. You know, the road doesn't stop here. We have a ton of stuff. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm a super integrator. Like I can't, you know, just like Sonia, I can't sit still, right? I go crazy, just you know, just doing just the bare minimum, honestly. And so a lot of really great stuff, a lot of really great things that we have in store for you guys. And so super excited for you all to be on that journey. And I don't know, Oscar, maybe we might want to have like, you know, look, hey, anybody that didn't come to round 1 of the predictive index Zoom, if you missed it and you want your results, we got a second phase or something, because like I said, this is a lot of really great stuff that I think that we really want to share, because
Yeah.
even in this Zoom, like matchmaker, right? Sonia and Michael, like we're just like two people that we probably had no idea that they'd be, you know, that they would be able to mesh so well together. But like when you really think about it, like yeah, I could see Michael, you know, using some of his analytical pieces and sharing with Sonia, and Sonia, you know, giving some feedback and just having a really great conversation from that. So, but anyways, a lot of really great stuff in store. So
Yeah.
super.
And I think you know, let's go back to like the why we're doing this, guys. Like we're spending 2 hours of our time like to do this. And number one is, you know, we've already done this before, and you know, we've already built a marketing engine. We already built the SOPs, right? Why are we giving this away for free? Well, number one is to help you guys, and the reason we're helping you guys is because technologies and SOPs is always evolving. So instead of just not sharing this, because you know, not sharing this would not do any good to us, right? Eventually, the SOP is going to be evolving, you know, because even when we're doing the marketing and everything, the SOPs always change. So it's not like you guys just have this template and we just like, that's it, I'm done, right? Our hope is that we can create a community, right? To just like the last thing I want to do is talk about cold calls, meaning like how do I do cold calls, because there's so many resources, there's so many gurus that's already selling that, right? I don't want to talk about how to close. I want to find the right people to close, right? I want to find the right people and the right team member to help me close. I want to build a community of business people, all right? Not just side hustlers, not just closer, not just lead managers, not just quote unquote integrator, but people who knows the importance of building business framework. So Tim is gone right now, right? I literally, he cost me $500 a week, an hour. All right, I kid you not. I can show you my invoice. Okay, I paid $2,000 a month for him, for the whole process, right? Not just for him. I mean, he's part of the process, but it cost me $2,000 a month. Okay, I'm not kidding you, right? Predictive Index is going to cost me $6,000 a year. I can show you invoice, right? Costs us money. All right, why are we giving this away for free? Because I literally believe in the power of collaboration. Okay, I really believe that if we come in together and not play around and just kind of like, you know, like there's only 14 people right now. I can see 14. It was 16 before. A couple of people leave. But imagine if all of us are committed. I don't need 100 people, guys. I can tell you that. Okay, if you're a Christian, Jesus built an entire religion with 12 people. Okay, one of them is a traitor, so 11. Okay, I don't need 100 people. Now, I'm not the Messiah, I'm not telling that, but I'm just saying, if we are committed, we can do great things. It's not about the number, it's about the quality and the things that we talked about, right? So, George, I think we're planning to do this for every, are we doing this every month or every what?
Yeah, let's plan for it every month.
Right?
And
We're trying to do this every month because, again, man, this is, I have business to run. I have multiple businesses to run. I have my own purpose and everything, but I'm so open to sharing this with you guys. As long as you are committed. That's the last thing I don't want to do is like, I'm pouring my time and committed to you guys and showing you my vision and my hard work and blood and tears, and people just leave and just think that it's free content and not appreciate it. And when I say not appreciate, you don't need to thank me, but you guys don't implement. That's the worst part of it, right? You guys don't implement. You guys think because it's free content, it's like, oh, okay, it's good that I just listen to it. Because how much is this value you just got right now if you start implementing and say, Oscar, help me find the right VA. Oscar, help me find the right partner because I now have access to Predictive Index. Right? And I have access to Tim, and by association, I could ask what your struggle is to Tim without paying him $500. Technically, I can't promise you that, but sometime I can even teach you that the stuff that I learned. Right? I'm not going to claiming that I'm a business coach now, but hey, I've been through 7 months of stuff with him. Right? I know how we create our purpose. I know how we create our like I would. So can I share you this? Can I share you my vision, like my the thing that I worked with him for like 3 months. I know it's not 3 months, like 8 hours, but it's 3 months for me. So it's still 3 months of work for me. It's like 3 months that cost me $5,000. I don't care. I don't care what he said. Let's see here. But this is the first time, guys, in many, many years that I've done business that I have a core value and a business purpose. Okay, I'm just being honest. Like I've made a lot of money, but to me, all of them are like not luck, but it's hustling and hard work. Right now, I'm doing smart work, guys. Okay, and I want you guys to learn how to do smart work and working hard, but also smart. Because in the past, I'm only working hard and less smart. And that's just I would say, right? And you can still make a lot of money working hard, but you're not going to release yourself from your daily activities, right? So let's see. Where is this? I didn't plan this, so let me see. Start. Okay, Audrey. My daughter made this for me, guys, so I'm sorry. There you go. Is it what? Okay, can you guys see this? You guys can, right? Yeah. Okay. So this is the results of the 3 months, right, guys? So I want to show this to you, right? But this is our core values. This is the core value that we created of that 3 months that I worked with Tim. All right. The core values is sum up to be what we call a we are. So this is our core values. If anyone that doesn't fit this doesn't work with us, period. Right? It comes from WERRE, right? We welcome challenges. We exhibit faithfulness because that's part of my faith too. We want to be faithful. Authenticity in relationship. I'm always authentic. I'm always being upfront, right? You know me, George, right? I'm always like, hey, George, I don't think that's right. Hey, George, I think we need to do better, right? I never say, you know what, let's do it and see what happens, So reinforce independence and boldness, right? I'm always like, okay, well, do it. I'm always encourage people like, hey, independence, right? Embrace resourcefulness. So these are our core values, right? And that sums up to be at the KPI books, which is going to be a KPI advisor soon. We're rebranding that. Our core values embodying the essence of we are approach, defining who we are and how we operate. They are not just words on paper. They are guiding principles that infuse our company culture and shape our every action. Everyone needs to read this. Everyone that comes into our company needs to read this, and they need to sign an agreement that they agree, right? We eagerly welcome challenges as catalysts for growth. Challenges are not roadblocks, but stepping stones, and we embrace them with an open arms. They drive us to innovate, adapt, and reach new heights. I take this to heart, guys, right? These are all the things that I did. This is just the purpose. Okay, there's 4 things. There's 4 P's. There's a purpose, there's profit, there is performance, and there is process, and then performance. We're just in the process side right now. I mean, we're just in the purpose side. Sorry. We're just in the purpose side right now, right? Authenticity, right? This is what we say. We believe in authenticity is a cornerstone of trust and meaningful connection. Our relationships are built on sincerity, openness, and mutual respect. We are dedicated to fostering genuine, empathetic, and transparent connection. I believe in authentic relationship between me and my team members because guess what? 60% of my team members is going to be overseas. I do not micromanage them. I do not time track them. Believe it or not. I give them a salary and they do the task that we tell them to do with system and process. Because, and this is important for you guys that wants to do wholesaling, because guess what? Wholesaling, there's about 20 to 25 people or right in the company that needs to be filled in wholesaling. And some of them are your cold callers, your lead managers, your acquisitions and dispo, and a lot of them are someone overseas right now, right? When we were doing our marketing company, George, right? All our team members are in the Philippines, right? And we were micromanaging them, to be honest, at that point, right? But I hate micromanaging people. But now we have a system and process because we also have authenticity in relationships, and they believe that, right? They're not gonna they're gonna be knowing that they have to trust me, right? Because I reinforce independence and boldness from them too, right? They need to be independent if they want to work with me, right? I mean, they need to get sets of instruction, but they need to run with it, right? So these are the things that we tell them, like before we hire, right? And so that's our core values right there, right? If we were to have an office, this would be on our wall right now when you come in. It will be. I'm creating an office, so we will be. This will be on our wall, right? So, and that's, and this is our purpose right now for the KPI advisors, right? We exist to help real estate investors and other entrepreneurs thrive by simplifying complexities, fostering financial understanding, and providing creative, affordable solutions, ensuring a legacy of trustworthiness and true success. That's our purpose, all right? The key purpose indicator, that's what Tim talked about in the beginning, right? We're helping individual achieve $1 million net worth while fostering a giving mindset. Our goal, this is a 3-year goal, guys, which means that when this is why it's a key purpose indicators, because we will meet this goal. And hopefully in 3 years, we will meet this goal. December 31st, 2026, we should meet this goal. All right. A community of 100 givers. That's it. We want 100 people with $1 million net worth who, empowered financially, contribute to their communities and meaningful causes. Now, I hope some of you here will be part of this too, right? I sincerely hope that your business will grow, that you will need our help, and you will be part of this community too someday, right? I don't know when that's going to come, but we already have people who are in this already, because our goal is 100, right? And that's 3 years. That means I need to create 30 millionaires every year, at least, right? And that's what we're doing. So 3-year milestone, $1.5 million. I mean, these are all like these are all profit indicators, right? So, so I'm not going to bore you with that one, but because you guys going to have different profit indicators and everything like that, right? But this is what we've been going through for the business framework. It's exciting stuff, guys. If you're not getting excited with this, I don't think I want you in my community, to be honest. I'm like, really, this is what really we need to focus on as business owners, guys. All right. We need to care about our team members, obviously, but we need to, if you are really want to create a business that will grow and scale, and maybe you don't, and that's fine. But I'm into like, creating a business that we can grow to, so that we can attain this what we call generational wealth and financial freedom and free time, or whatever we call it. Right. And we can't do it just by going through motion and buying courses and going into different mentorship and masterminds and blah, blah, blah. And not to say we might not monetize this. I'm just being honest, because I'm also an entrepreneur, right? But right now, we just want to prove this. Okay? If you guys want to go with us, these are all free, guys. We don't know how to charge you guys at this point, right, George? We don't. Like, I'm just being honest. We don't have a plan to charge you guys. I don't know. Right? Maybe we will at one point once we see success. But man, I would hate for you guys to miss this bandwagon. I can tell you that. Because if we were to create a course on this, I know it's going to be worth $10,000, $20,000 a year. Right? Because I pay like $2,000 a month to get this. You know what I mean? So again, I'm just saying, right? So guys, I hope you guys are excited, because this is just a beginning, and this is Q1 2024, guys. It's very, very important. It's very important to still set things into motion and plan correctly. Okay? So I have a Facebook group, right, John? Right, George? Like we're not really active in that, but once we do this, I'm planning to be more active in that, right? But it's more structured, right? I'm not going to be just like, again, I need to set up a time. I need to allow my time, and it's in the last 6-7 months, I've been trying to free up my time, so I can do this too, because this is kind of like my passion too now. Right? Like once I gone through the 8 months of building businesses, I'm like, man, I really want to help people, because I see so many bad partnership. We've been through it, right, George? I see so many people being scammed, right? We all know it, right? If you're part of sub 2, you'll see every day, oh, my PML screwed me, oh, this screwed me, and blah, blah, blah. And things like, man, that's not right. Right? Let's try to create something where we're all accountable to each other. And we are adults, man. I'm not gonna like, kick you like you're children. Like, I'm not supposed to kick you, but I'm Asian. I kick my kids. So it's just, I implement punishment and pain to some of my kids. All right. So I can tell you that. All right. They grew up pretty well now, I think. So, yes, bad partnerships are very consuming and exhausting, so I don't want to go through that anymore. Right? That's why I want people to take this test. Right? So, like I said, if you're really serious about building this, let's build this together. Right? Let's, if we spend every, once a month, and even if I spend like once a week to do something, let's be in it. Right? And not because my time is precious, because you're missing opportunities, guys. I'm serious. This is going to be a different, if I let it run the way I want it to run, again, this is why, Joe, you're a captain and I'm a venturer, right? I mean, just let me run the way I want it to be run. You know what I mean? Otherwise I don't want to do it. Like, you go do it yourself, right? If you just let me try doing it the way I think it's going to work, the worst thing that could happen is you learn something new, and that is not about cold calling. That's not about pulling lists, because those are like auxiliary things. You know, there's already a lot of sources for that, man. There's already a lot of people peddling those stuff. Right? These are a lot of people still gatekeep on Sharper products, on Gary Harper. You know, like, because I didn't find out about business coaching until last year. No one ever talks about this, right? You might heard about this, but I haven't, and I've been into a lot of different mentorship. I paid different mentorship every year, and none of us talks about business growing. None of us talks about how to create a good business. None of us talks about you need to create a good team. Well, maybe they do, but they don't tell us how. They don't tell us who. They just like, okay, well, you know, just hire someone. Hire a VA, you know, hire acquisition, like, you know, figure it out yourself, right? Date your partner. And blah. I mean, that's what they say, right? You know, so none of us got into like this framework that tells you, man, you got to have the right purpose first. Right? And it's like, Michael, you want to create a wholesaling company or whatever you want to do? Let's get into your purpose first. What is your purpose? And hopefully Sonia has the same purpose. And if Sonia has the same purpose, separately, you guys have similar purpose, then that might be a good partnership. And that's more than just behavior tests. Right? And I'm not, you know, and that's what I want to explore, right, with you guys. Right? And that's what I want to spend my time and my you know, and my really my resources also. You know, like if Aaron and Joe, you know, and Michael needs to hire a VA, well, let's do it right. Because we have bad VAs too, right, George? we caught a VA that's like cheating on us. You remember that guy?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like George caught it. Thank God for George. Because like I wouldn't care. I wouldn't know. Like, oh, okay, he submit leads. And George's like, oh, that's weird. Because he's like, he hangs in like call tools for like 40 minutes. And it's like, what does that mean?
Had to dive deep into those numbers.
Exactly. So
Yeah, to your point, Oscar, I think that a lot of that auxiliary stuff is found in the vault, is found on these daily calls that the community is hosting, right? And a lot of what you're gonna find with the stuff that Oscar and I are pulling together is like we're unveiling what's behind those curtains, right? Like we're not just gonna say like, oh, well, in order to create a successful business, let me give you a blanket statement that generally works in the broadest sense of the word, right? Like Oscar has so much experience, so many years doing his thing, right? I've got my experience in strategy and execution and you know, certification and soft, you know, similar to Michael's, you know, software and development. And there's a whole bunch of different, like between Oscar and I, there's like 5 to 10 different masterminds that we have of our own that we want to be able to bring to you. So there's a lot of really, really great things that we're pulling together that a lot of people just don't really either A, know how to articulate, or B, know how to actually like build structure from like a consistent and well thought out discipline, right? And so yeah, that's more of what we, you know, what we're doing here. So super excited.
yeah, and I think Joe asked what's the next action item. Well, I'm gonna talk about it with George. Again, we want to be respectful for each of our time because hey, we're running businesses now, right? You know, this is not, you know, we're not creating a sales funnel. You know, believe me, if it's a sales funnel, you'll know about it already, right? You probably see sales funnels like 20 times a day, right? Free stuff here, free stuff there, right? Literally, the stuff that we're giving you is literally free because we know those are the auxiliary stuff. Right? We do not gatekeep those because guess what? Those SOPs, to be honest, is probably not going to be valid in like the next 1 year or 2 years. I'm just being honest, right, George? Right? Not that they're not valid. It's just like they're old, outdated. It's like outdated manual, right? You like, you know, you're on Windows 7 and now you're selling on Windows 10. Everyone sells on Windows 10. Right? It's like that. SOPs and all the faults and everything that we have is gonna outgrown us. I mean, we're gonna outgrown them, right? So that's why it's like, let's just give them away. You know, but let's focus on the real thing here that it's going to be always current is that building a great business. That's never going to end. Right? I mean, it might end at one point when you sell the business, right? And I've gone through clients in my company, that we have clients in our bookkeeping company that's now evaluating their exit strategies, which is awesome to know, right? Which is awesome to see, because I'm not there yet. But maybe we're gonna be acquired by Intuit. I don't know. Maybe like Anderson Consulting is gonna buy us. I don't know, right? I mean, that would be cool, right? To have evaluation to create this company in 3 years, 4 years, where we have proof that we created 100 millionaires following our system and processes, the way we do things, and help them grow. Maybe Anderson Consulting is gonna buy that, and that'll be like 100 million evaluations. I don't know, right? But that's my goal, right? That might be a 6-year goal, right? And it should be your goal too, to be honest, right? To have an evaluation of a company somewhat, and then you get to choose if you want to still own it, be the owner, and let a CEO and COO runs, or you sell it, and then you fly off to like Bali somewhere and just live off like because if you go to Bali, guys, and you have $1 million, you can live forever. Like literally, you can live forever in Bali with $1 million. Okay? The goal is to get $1 million first in cash. All right? Or $2 million. I don't know. Maybe by that time it's going to be like 2 million. But still, if you have a business that you sold for $100 million, I don't think you're going to be more concerned, right? You can buy an island in Bali. I can tell you that. All right? So guys, we're at 9 o'clock. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I love small groups. I strive in small groups. I think the best things happen in small groups. I hope, you guys can take home something. And, it lights a fire within you if you want to do better this year, right? Because 2020, 2021, I was pretty depressed. I was a depressed entrepreneur, right? But I still went through stuff because, again, I'm very independent, and I know how to drive myself, right? And it's not until 2023 where I found a lot of these different resources, and this is where I am right now, and I'm striving right now, right? And I'm thriving, whatever that word is, right? Because now I know what I'm supposed to do. I know my purpose, and I hope this year, at least this quarter, at least I can help you find your purpose. To be honest, that's the first thing. Like, so Joe, if you ask me what the next action item, I hope I can find you guys your purpose, help you guys find your purpose. If you guys don't know already, let's try to find. There's ways to do it. Okay, we went through it. I went through it. I can teach you how. At least try to teach you how. Right? I didn't go create those purpose and everything by accident. Again, that took me 3 months, 8 hours, whatever Tim says, but it's a hard 8 hours for me to define that purpose. But now I can run with it. Right? And that's the most beautiful feeling. I can tell you that once you know that. That's the most beautiful feeling. It's like you're getting a turbo engine in your car. Like you upgraded, like you go from like what is it, like Honda Accord to like an AMG machine. Right? That's the best way I can explain it, because I like cars too. Right? You got a basic like Honda Accord, and suddenly like 3 months you got upgraded for free. Like now you have an AMG 600 horsepower, like you can just run. You still have to drive it, but it runs. It runs really, really good now, guys. And I want you guys to feel that, hopefully before the end of the year.
And I'll just say, hanging out with Oscar, I mean, in the years that we've been working together, I mean, there have been so many opportunities that I've had that I wouldn't have had otherwise. But just being able to link with strong minds is really, really a blessing. And so I just want to end with that note. So
Yeah.
It's really, really great things if we stick together.
Yep. All right, guys. So yeah, we'll get an announcement soon. And then we go from there. Thanks, Markeisha. I appreciate you. I know we've talked over Facebook. I don't think we've had a good conversation, like long conversation together, but I hope to have that soon with you and be able to help you in your journey too. And Joe, and Tech, we've known each other for a while, so and everyone else, right? So let's get serious this year, because really, man, this year it's your defining year. It is my defining year this year, and I want to bring you guys all together if possible. It's much more fun together than solo. Okay. All right, guys. All right. Good night. Have a great night, guys. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, George, for facilitating days too. All right.
Yep. Talk to you
All
guys soon.
All right. Bye.